Hello everyone! If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hello. You are welcome here. My name is Emily, and today I'm going to be bringing to you guys a new series that I am calling Mad Science Makeup. It all started while I was watching Thomas Halbert's video on mixing all his highlighters together, and I had seen a couple people do the videos of themselves taking all their foundation and mixing it all together in a bowl and testing it out on their face. I think this is a fun idea. I think it's cool to play around with your makeup and see what you can create. But it all really took off when I saw this guy right here. This is Sydney Grace Cosmetics highlight in Pumpkin Spice Latte with extra whip. That highlight name is everything. I want a pumpkin spice latte now. No shame in that. I love this highlight. I want this highlight. One day I might buy it, but right now I don't have the money to. So I already own the existing Pumpkin Spice palette by Sydney Grace Cosmetics, and they have a shade that's pretty darn similar to the highlight. It's just a lot less shiny and a little bit more dull and a little bit darker because it's an eyeshadow. It's not meant to be so shiny. I figured, well, it's a similar color, and I don't want to spend the money and the shipping and whatnot on the Sydney Grace highlight, so why not just take a highlight that I already own in my collection that I am not currently using? And I'm sure that you guys can understand, because if you made it to my videos, chances are you are a makeup addict. We have stuff in our collection that we don't use. We buy it, we think we're going to use it, and then we let it sit for a while and then push it to the back of our collection and kind of forget about it. So I chose one of those highlights and I decided to bring it forward and basically make a new highlight out of something that I already had. And this inspired me to do this every single week on my channel. I'm gonna try and take something that I really want, that I see on Trend Mood, Instagram, or on some makeup account, Instagram or Twitter, and I'm gonna try to make it myself out of stuff that I already have. I think this would be awesome because, for one thing, we're all going broke here over buying a bunch of stuff we really don't need, and it's really fun to have new stuff, and it's really fun to make new stuff. And that's what I'm going to be bringing you guys every single week. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to see my creation today, then let's go ahead and get right on into it. Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own custom highlight. Take whatever eyeshadow and whatever highlight you are going to be mixing together today. This one is Sydney Grace Cosmetics Pumpkin Spice from the Pumpkin Spice Latte palette. You are also going to need an empty eyeshadow pan. You can get these from Amazon. You can also make one yourself by taking an old eyeshadow you don't use. I used an old Coastal Scents one and broke it and used the pan. So rest in peace to that Coastal Scents shadow, but you will not be missed. You are also going to need either a spatula, a knife, a fork, something sharp and preferably precise that you can use to break up the shadow. You will also need a flat surface such as a lid. This is a lid to a box of coffee beans, chocolate covered coffee beans. Those are so bomb. Or you can use a plate. You will also need some rubbing alcohol. I just got 70% because it is cheaper. Alrighty, so go ahead and pick up your eyeshadow and take your spatula or your spoon or fork or whatever sharp object you decided to use, and go ahead and start gently scraping off some of the layers of the eyeshadow or the highlight, whichever one you preferred, and try and scrape it off into small pieces so you don't get too much at one time. What you're really looking for is a thin, really broken up consistency of the eyeshadow. If it's not super thin and it's pretty chunky, it's going to be harder to mix together and to basically blend in with the highlight later on when you start to add the rubbing alcohol. So now go ahead and take your highlight and repeat, do the same exact steps, get a thin, really broken up consistency, and like I said, you can get that by just doing little tiny scrapes off the top layer of the highlight, working your way down. So basically scrape it in layers so that you are able to get a really fine, thin consistency of the powder. So now that you have both of your powders sitting in the tray, I don't know about you, but that gives me a little bit of anxiety looking at that. We are going to go ahead and start mixing everything together. So grab your rubbing alcohol, and the main key with the rubbing alcohol is to put in a little at a time. The more rubbing alcohol that you put in, the less likely the product is going to be able to perform well. As you can see, I spilled a little bit over the edge, but I do this all the time, so I'm pretty good at eyeballing how much to put in. Now we're going to want to start mixing everything together. So when you start mixing, go ahead and take a little bit of powder from the eyeshadow side and a little bit from the highlight side and start pressing it down onto the plate. Now you're going to want to keep pressing in the highlighter powder onto the plate until you start to get a smooth consistency, and you'll want to add a little tiny amount of rubbing alcohol as you go until you get to a nice thick but smooth paste. Now this might take a little bit of back and forth, but you want to get everything really smooth and really consistent. Now it's kind of funny because I am a dental assistant. More specifically, I do root canals all day long, and we do this at work with our filling material. So I am pretty skilled in this. This is what I do at my job to make temporary fillings. So yeah, you could say I'm an expert. But you want to keep doing that until you get to about the consistency that we are at right now. It's thick, but it's smooth, and you might need to add a little bit more highlight if the eyeshadow is looking like it is too dominant. As you can see, it looks like a really dark, almost bronzy highlight right now, so I took a little bit more of this highlighter, which I never mentioned it, but this is Summer from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sundipped Glow Kit, and I never got use out of this bad boy, so I'm going to get some good use out of it now. Now you're going to want to keep doing the pressing motions into the plate or whatever surface that you are using, and that will really break up any of the big chunks of powder. As you can see, just kind of repeat what I'm doing. Really press the spatula or the spoon or knife, whatever you're using, into the plate with the product underneath, and that will really help to break up any pieces that are too large and really help the powder to be really nice and smooth. You really want a smooth consistency because that will make the highlight go onto the skin a lot smoother. I did find good results with this highlight, and it went on really smoothly to the skin. So the more pushing and pressing and mixing together that you do, the better the highlight is going to look for you. So now we're going to pick up our empty pan and start taking some of the highlight and pressing it down into the pan. Now you want to use your spatula or your knife or your spoon or whatever you got with you. You want to use it to really push the product into the pan and make sure that you get it nice and even. Don't put too much in one spot at one time. Do it little by little and really kind of press everything in so that everything is nice and compact. This way when it's dry, it doesn't crumble on you, especially when you put your brush in there. So you really want to focus on really pressing that material in there and smoothing the material out as you go. If you don't do that, it could get lumpy, or you could get one side that's a little bit higher, and not like the appearance matters too much, but if you want to impress people with your homemade makeup, then you want it to look nice. So as you can see here, every time I put in a new little scoop of the highlight, I'm really pressing it into the pan and into the product that's already there to really kind of mesh it together and keep everything really smooth. Now I'm going to put the last of my product in and really smooth that top there. And as you can see, you can watch the motions that I'm doing, just little patting motions to smooth it out. So you want to keep smoothing the top of the product until you get your desired texture. Then you're going to want to use the spatula and turn it on its side and just scrape off any extra layers that are on top. You'll want to scrape off that layer to make it look nice and pretty. And voila, you have your highlighter. Here is the highlight in all its glory. I am wearing it today on my cheekbones. I did build it up with 3 layers and then did set it down with a setting spray, which is what I do for every single highlight because I feel like most highlights need a couple layers. You're not just going to get this poppin', blinding to space highlight with 1 layer on most highlights. I am very proud of this. This was really fun, and I really wanted a color like this, and I'm really excited that I have a color like this now, and I didn't have to pay for it. I paid for it previously, but that's okay, nonetheless. I didn't have to pay for it at this time period. If you are interested in seeing this type of video every single week, go ahead and subscribe down below, and if you did like this type of video, I do hope that you give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up never killed anyone. At least I don't think so. I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing day wherever you are, and thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye!